Today we talk about Heraclitus, one of the most interesting philosophers that I've ever studied. And this is pretty much all that remains from him. There are some other snippets of him that were preserved through other people's writings, but more or less everything that he's written has kind of been forgotten except for this one word called fragments. It's fragments because that's all that's left from him. But he's a very interesting person. He's a pre-Platonic philosopher, which just means he's very, 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 very old. I can't remember exactly. It says 6th century BC right on the back. I was about to say I don't remember when, but Heraclitus is very interesting because he doesn't really have a set philosophy. It's more so that everything is in flux. And I think if you summarize his ideas by that, it makes a whole lot of sense. And in essence, his whole idea is that everything is changing and everything is being created and reborn into something new. And the impermanence of things is the most important thing to understand. He has a very famous saying, you can never step in the same river twice. Both the man and the river are different. And what this means is that obviously you step in a river and then you try to step in the same river again. It's not going to be the same because you have changed and the river has changed. You have become a different person. You have had more experience. You've lived. You've become older. Maybe you're less healthy. In some way, something about you has changed. And the same thing for the river. It's eroded a little more. The stream might be more warm or more cool. Like, it's not the same exact thing. And I think, interestingly enough, out of everyone that has studied him, I think Nietzsche loves him the most, which is saying a lot because he is one of the biggest haters I've ever studied. But, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. But what can we take away from Heraclitus? What can we take away? I hope I'm saying it right as well. But what can we take away from this man? What can we take away from his ideas? And I think, interestingly enough, there's some parallels with, the Bhagavad Gita or the Tao Te Ching and some of the ideas in that things are in flux, that things are flowing. There's even some correlation with Emerson, and I have to wonder if Emerson studied him as well. But what we can take away from this is to not cling on to things, to not linger on things, to not try to hold on to things. And I explained this last night in my live stream, but there's this old Sufi mystic, and there's this, I guess you'd call it a proverb, but basically this king goes to the Sufi mystic and he goes, give me something that will make me happy when I'm sad and sad when I'm happy. And the mystic returns with a ring that says, this too shall pass. And the king immediately is struck. And the point of the story is that when you realize that when you're happy, there's sad times coming, and then when you're sad, there's happy times coming, it kind of puts things in perspective. And this really is almost the Stoic idea of don't get too high, don't get too low. And I think it's an interesting way to move through life because when you just accept things for how they are, then you can respond in the best way possible. But if you're caught up in emotion, if you're caught up in anger or joy or happiness or elation, whatever the emotion is, it can cloud your judgment and it can in some way prevent you from making the best decision. And what's really essential for this life is to always try to make the best decision. Always try to think things through. Never rush in decisions. Never do something that you're going to regret in the future because it's something that you have to deal with. It's something that you're going to have to be responsible for. And wouldn't you rather deal with a less stressful life, less hectic life? And I think you could put it on this level, but as well, it's essential for your happiness as well because think about how many people linger in past emotions. Think about how many people think about what was and think about what could have been and try to recreate these things when it's just best to move on, when it's just best to accept things, when it's just best to accept that something has came and went and it can't come back. And now that that's happened, now you have to find something new. And I'm talking about you, the guys that are out here still clamoring for their ex and still, trying to recreate old memories and such. And, at a certain point, you just have to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I can't keep living like this. I can't keep trying to pull the past into the present. I have to accept things for how they are and respond in this moment and live in this moment and find happiness in this moment. I think there's an extremely deep aspect to Heraclitus that I think can't really be put into words, but it's more so that what is going on is going to go on regardless, and the more you can come to grips with it, the more you can make the best decision. But the more you say, well, curse the world, all these bad things are happening to me, why can't I just get lucky, or this or this or this. Like, the harder it's just going to be to cope, the harder it's going to be to just live in general. And yeah, with that said, I think this is part 9 in the Important Ideas in Philosophy series. There should be, at the end of this video, I don't know if I'm going to end it right now, but there should be a card that gives you the playlist for the rest of the videos. If you like this video, you're going to like the rest. If you want to read my book, the link is in the description. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.